Hi there everyone, welcome back. Today we want to talk about how autoimmune disorders affect women. 80 times more, or 80% of autoimmune diseases that humans suffer are suffered by women.
It's Pete and Greta here from the Purple House, by the way.
Yeah, that's how I was going to get to that point. So first of all, let's dive in why women tend to be affected by autoimmune disorders and crippling pain from that a lot more than men. So when we talk about autoimmune diseases, what we see is rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, thyroid issues of all kinds, even migraines, allergies, what do you call it, ovarian problems, menstrual problems, hormonal problems. A lot of this is to do with your own immune system fighting itself, fighting its own tissue. So in a minute we're going to talk about what we believe is the root cause, and we're going to give you some ideas how you can work with that. But research was done by different psychiatrists around the world, and you come across this, of course, in many times in podcasts and so on. And so it was discovered that women who suffer a lot of autoimmune pain and so on, and crippling fatigue, they have four different characteristics in common. So number one is always prioritizing other people's needs, and so like consistently placing other people's emotional needs in front of your own. That's number one. Number two is like focusing on duty or obligation. So if somebody asks you for help, for instance, and it's not really suitable for you, but you just can't say no because you immediately feel that pull, like, oh, I'm obliged to help. So that is number two. So that you always coming from an area of duty. It's my duty to do this or that. You may not even be conscious of it though, but that could be the case. And then of course suppression of your own emotions. So always being kind, being a friendly person, smiling to everyone, but crying on the inside. And so like especially suppressing anger, because women tend to not want to be seen as angry, right? Sadness is probably more permitted when you're a girl or a woman. Thankfully, all this is changing, don't get me wrong, but these are like cultural pressures that women are subjected to. And then, of course, assuming responsibility. So this is getting caught up in a drama triangle, that you feel responsible for everyone else's positive outcomes or how other people feel, and you never want to disappoint anyone, right? So that is also a huge pressure. So those four pressures combined start to push down on the nervous system and your immune system. And the immune system just builds a pressure, it has nowhere to go. And so it gets very creative on the inside, right? It actually literally doesn't have energy to deal with things that come in. So we see a lot of this in our clients. And of course, Pete and I are familiar with it ourselves because right, we are, in our 60s now, so we've made many mistakes in the past. And actually, if this is you, I just want to give you a very quick suggestion that I suggest to my clients. I find it's very helpful. You just stay in your own lane. So if you're not sure how you should react, just think of you're in a swimming pool and you have to get across to the other side. So you've left the starting blocks and you want to get to the other end of it. So you just see your own life and your own commitments as your own lane, and you keep repeating to yourself all day long, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. Is this in my lane? No, it isn't. So I'm just going to let it go, right? That is extremely helpful. All right, Pete, what?
We've actually discovered, after seeing thousands of clients, that unresolved traumas and suppressed emotions and autoimmune diseases have things in common. They're associated with one another. And those unresolved traumas, if we have a major trauma, a lot of that still gets stuck in our body. Even an injection, a needle going into your body is a trauma to the body. And we can have an emotion attached to it, but it's like glass or plastic stuck in your body's trying to get rid of it all the time, and it sets up this reaction that causes inflammation, and your immune system is trying to get rid of it, and it starts working overtime.
And it's literally fighting itself.
And then it just fights the body and sets up what we call autoimmune diseases.
Or little bushfires, you could call it.
It's it's the unresolved traumas that are still stuck in your tissues that actually need to be got rid of, and then the immune system will settle down and stop attacking itself.
That's right.
Or attacking
it
the
calms
body.
right down.
Yeah. And we've used a healing system for years that will get to the base root, or will identify the traumas, even if people can't, or if you can't remember them.
Not consciously, but subconsciously, of course, the body remembers.
Your body remembers, but maybe on a conscious level you won't remember them. But with the healing system that we work with, it gets to the bottom, the base root of the cause of it. Of the unrest. And with energy work, it can be resolved very quickly.
That's right. So first we find the base root cause of the stress in the body. So we literally talk to your immune system and your nervous system and the tissues in your body, and your body will gladly let it go. So it will always show us where the problem is, right? And it's a lot of the time stems back from your childhood, by the way. There's nothing that has occurred in your adult life that didn't occur in your childhood first. That's really what I want you to know as well. Because basically we just doing the first 7 years of our life on repeat, even though it doesn't always look like that. It's actually the same energy behind the traumas that you are experiencing today. You've already experienced that before in your childhood. So we always go back into your childhood, or even when you were in your mom's tummy.
And even we're born with programs that aren't our own. They belong to our ancestors.
So we can find that out as well, and then basically we hack into the computer, we share with you what we find, and it's not traumatic, by the way, in today's today, because now you're an adult and you have resources, and it's not the same energy as when you were in the middle of that trauma years ago. And then we heal it instantly with healing energy, and straight away you feel this massive sense of relief or lightness in your body. So what I want you to know is that clients, when they come to us, it's like their cup is already filled with like stress, overwhelm, pain, emotions of regret, shame, guilt, all those, frustration, exasperation, sadness and loss, you name it, And so it's literally the universe can't help them anymore because their cup is full. The universe does want to help you, but first you need to empty a little bit out of the cup to make room for good things to flow into your life. So that's another way of looking at it. We just simply help you to empty out all that trauma, energy, especially shame can be a big one that you may not even be conscious of, that really pulls you down, right? Shame and guilt and regret really drain your energy.
I had a client come one time, and she said, I'm just emotionally laboured. She was just up and down and cried at the drop of a hat. She didn't know what was going on. But that was the bucket was full.
Yeah.
And the next time she came to me, she comes regularly on a monthly basis, she said, what you did last time, it made me feel amazing.
Yeah.
It just empties the bucket out.
Yeah, and we all want that sense of inner calm and stability, because especially with Christmas coming up, we really want to feel stable in ourselves, because we don't want to get triggered or flip out and things like that, which often happens, by the way, when you see your own families and friends, right? So I want you to know that there is help, and that everyone benefits from our sessions for sure, right? If something is too big for us, we'll let you know, but that's rarely the case. And Pete and I, we actually shared 2 stories with you that were like super, super interesting. Do you just want to tell the story of Bill in like 1 minute? Sorry. So Bill, Bill was
probably prioritising others' needs.
All the time in front of himself, wasn't he?
He was a husband, he was a father, and
he was very deeply caring.
Yeah, he was. And he'd been back and forth to the doctors with some sort of skin issue. Mm-hmm. And the medical world had named it a fungal issue. Anyway, it
was very painful though, because it was on his thigh, so it made it difficult to walk.
He had a job walking, and anyway, I actually looked at his live and dried blood as well, which I do, and he found that fascinating. People do find that fascinating. They see their own cells on the screen in front of them, and it's
anyway.
But anyway,
minutes.
he came back a few weeks later, and it had improved, but then I gave him B-Plo, an enzyme, and a probiotic, and did a bit of healing, and about 3 weeks later he came back and the rash had disappeared.
And he'd also lost 40.
Yeah, he had also lost a heap of weight, because I recommend, he got so he could walk long distances again, and he was chuffed. He'd lost about 10 kilograms, I think
it was 14.
14,
But also he didn't know which types of food were really bad for him. So he was glad when he finally got some clarity around that. So then,
and his wife, she followed what he did and lost quite a bit of weight.
So she really benefited as well, right? So when you up-level yourself, everyone around you also gets the benefit. Of course, that's always the case. Plus, he had traumas in his body, and Pete helped him to prioritize himself, that he actually felt okay to make himself the priority at different times. So I also had a really interesting case. So a lady who was bitten by a Tasmanian white-tailed spider, right? Yeah. Do you have that on the mainland or not?
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, they are meant to be highly toxic, but not everyone who gets bitten by a white-tailed spider ends up with autoimmune diseases, of course. That's the same with ticks and other things. Some people will get an autoimmune disease and others don't, for the reasons that we've just pointed out. So, but this lady was badly affected, but her life went downhill very, very quickly. And by the time she came to me, I think she'd already suffered for 5 years and really didn't have any quality of life. She was covered in a rash. The rash would just come and go, but always go into different parts of her body. It was extremely painful. She was allergic to everything. She couldn't go to the supermarket. Everything just immediately put her in an allergic reaction.
Couldn't wear jewellery. The metals were...
Basically, even her clothes hurt. Her husband had to do everything for her. She needed full-time care. Basically, she was a huge mess. And so she actually didn't think anyone could help her. So I did one session with her, and she immediately felt huge sense of lightness and relief, and she felt the change immediately in her body. And then when she came back, the rash was gone up. And anyway, I'm going to put photos in the article so you can see how bad it was for yourself. And so when she came back after during the second session, she told me she could eat normal foods again, and she was really starting to get her life back. So after that, that was a big turning point, and she did get her life back. So not everyone, by the way, who, like I said before, because who gets bitten by a spider gets sick like that. But if your immune system is compromised and your cup is full and overflowing with stress, a lot of childhood stress that you've forgotten, but you don't realize your cup is full, we do need to empty your cup, right? And anyway, Pete and I, as you may know, we have 6 children and lots of grandchildren. Of course, at different times, they've been bitten by all sorts of things, haven't they? One of our children one time had a white-tailed spider in his pajamas, and he got bitten. And another child got bitten by a scorpion. All sorts of yucky things. And we immediately do a healing correction on it, just in case, but actually none of our kids suffered anyway badly from all those things that happened, right? So in today's world, though, what Pete and I see is that children, their cup of stress and overwhelm is already full as well. Like maybe when we were young, you know, we still had the good fortune that we might have been relatively free from trauma for maybe the first 10 or 15 years or whatever. But in today's world, that's really not the case anymore. And everyone needs to come, all babies and every child and every mom and dad, they need a reset, which is actually something that our kids have benefited from, and our grandchildren do too. And I know that this works because Pete and I are old enough now to have seen several generations come through our door of the clinic, right? So we've seen with some of the kids, we've been there, who might be 15 or 20 now, right? We saw them as babies. We actually treated the mom before they were born. Actually, even in my own family, we've got 6 children. So Tom, who's number 6, that's our youngest, he had a few things going on when he was a child. He was very, very dyslexic and probably a touch of ADHD, goodness knows what. He was really struggling at school, right? He hated school for starters, and he struggled at school, which was different to the other 5 kids because they always found it easy. And so this was back in our early days. I was in my early 30s, and Pete and I took him to an accomplished kinesiologist in Hobart who had trained herself because she had a child with some kind of brain dysfunction, right? And she was always helping her own child. And so we took Tom to her 2 times only, but each time she worked on Tom for a full day nearly, didn't she?
Yeah,
One time, this is like going back a long time, right? So healing techniques didn't work as fast. The energy used to be a lot stickier back in those days. And she was excellent, by the way. In this one time we had to go to a Friday night and then again Saturday morning because she knew that we had to come from Ringarooma, travel to Hobart. It cost us a lot of money, and we used to bring all the kids along and all the rest. So Tom experienced a full-on treatment that lasted all day twice, and each time his reading and everything improved out of sight. And of course that was amazing to me.
The first time he was quite a clingy child as well. And the first time
needy.
We afterwards we went down to Salamanca Market, and we turned around and Tom was gone. He was gone. He was nowhere to be seen, and he was off exploring the market himself. Which he never done because he just always clung to my leg, like literally stuck to my side for 5 years. Just gave him the confidence to.
That's right. So he was a different child. That was a shock to me. It changed so quickly. Like first I had it, like it was my youngest child. I loved it actually that it was clingy, and suddenly that was all gone. He was Mr. Independent. He actually knew what he wanted to. He'd gone to the other side of Salamanca Market looking for those dried wraps or whatever, those fruit wraps that and he actually found his own way to and found his way back to us. So that was like super scary. But the point I'm making is that Tom, through his growing up years, he didn't really seem to have the struggles that my other 5 kids had when they're teenagers, and you know how you fight yourself and you resist yourself and you get all these hateful behaviours and you resist the parents, and it's all very difficult and tricky. Well, Tom didn't seem to have any of those issues, not that I remember, Pete. And then this is just completely our opinion, he seems to have had a very, up to this point, uncomplicated life. He knows what he wants. He's got a lovely wife. She's the same as Tom. They're always on the same track, and they really seem to have their life together. And we believe that's because he had his nervous system emptied out from all the traumatic energies that were in there that he probably inherited from his grandparents. We always see that the children are dealing with the grandparents' issues. By the way, so if you're a grandparent and you're listening to us, please book yourself in for a session, because that also saves your grandchildren a lot of pain and hardship, right? So this has expanded a lot on the autoimmune issues, but we just want you to know that it's very common for women to suffer from autoimmune disorders, and men don't suffer in the same way for the reasons that I told you.
Read the article and it explains it probably better.
Stay in your lane. So if in doubt, stay in your lane, but always stay in your own lane anyway, right? And make your own lane really lovely and enjoyable and colorful, and spend time and money on
Prioritize yourself and not others.
You're worthy of your own attention, and you're worthy of your own energy. So these are all things that we help you to do that as well. And then of course, you know, eat healthy food, so foods that are not triggering to the immune system. We won't go into that now because we talk about that all the time. If you have a reaction of any kind going on in your body at all, we see I've got salt, so this is healthy pink Himalayan salt. You immediately put some salt under your tongue, like I'll put it on, like say a pinch, and then you drink lots of water. Make sure that it's filtered water, and then you put some iodine on your skin, anywhere really, it doesn't matter. I'll just show you. That's maybe 5 drops. So iodine cuts out any allergic reaction. So there's salt, so there's water, so that's foundational. And the allergic reaction will subside. So an allergic reaction is exactly the same. It's an autoimmune reaction, right? Your body is reacting, going over the top and making your nose around your eyes swell up and all the rest. We know what your body does sometimes. Anaphylactic shock being the worst one. And so I'll just finish by saying this. There is a pressure point in the top of your ear. So if you are out in the bush and you suddenly get an anaphylactic shock to anything, you quickly hold these points, or you do it to whoever is suffering. So like right at the very tip, and squeeze it really hard. If you have salt, always take salt with you wherever you go. Get some salt into your body, that's minerals, have some water, and you will most likely come out the other end. Just as, you know, it'll subside very, very quickly. Okay, hope you found this interesting. Hope you have a really enjoyable week. Take it easy, pull back from all the busyness and hecticness, and stay in your own lane. Look forward to being with you next week, and make sure that you let us know if you've got any questions. Bye for now.
Bye.